Hi guys, welcome to another episode of this podcast. We are going live with Abhijeet Anand. He is the founder of abCoffee. We're gonna talk about his journey, कैसे उन्होंने start किया and everything. Let's start from the आपके introduction से start करते हैं. Let's start from the introduction. Tell us about bit about yourself.
Thanks, Aman, and thanks the Karo Startup team for having me on this platform today. So to start with, my name is Abhijeet Anand. I'm the founder and CEO for abCoffee. abCoffee is a venture which is on a mission to democratize specialty coffee in India. So what it means is India's highest graded coffee beans, which is graded 80 and above,
Okay.
sourced from India's leading estates. And we are making it affordable and accessible, which means that we are bringing the cost down of premium espresso-based drinks like cappuccino and latte in 2 digits. So our coffee starts at 77, yet it's premium. And
Okay, that's
before we
great.
get more into that, and I think I'll share more
Mm-hmm.
about myself. I was born and brought up in Bihar, lived and done all my schooling there. Then I studied in
Mm-hmm.
IIT Dhanbad. I studied petroleum engineering. Then I worked for a company called Ashram Vijay. I worked
Okay.
in 3 different continents across 3 different countries, across 8 different cities in the entire span. In the entire career of 10 years, 3 countries, 7 states in India, traveled to 22 countries, worked in 7 different functions, and had really an incredible career in oil and gas before I
Mm.
ventured into coffee industry, right? In middle of this, I also studied law. So I studied entrepreneurship and business laws
Okay.
NBJS Kolkata. And then I also studied Masters in Political Marketing from Rome Business School, Italy. There's a bit about myself in terms of how the journey has happened. It's been a long journey. But then eventually, how coffee happened was after I returned back to India last year from Europe. And that's when I saw the gap and how coffee began. I think we're going to talk more about that. But then it's
Definitely.
about me.
Definitely. And we're going to talk about a lot of things, right? From your journey, how you started from Bihar से IIT, and now like coffee brand, right? So just tell a bit about the journey कैसे start हुई, right? About your background, your family background, your parents and all. कि वहाँ से कैसे from Bihar to IIT and now up coffee.
Well, a lot of people who have friends from Bihar who know who are themselves from Bihar, they will know that, and I think you yourself know that, Aman, right? So बिहार में 3 ही चीजें होती थी जब मैं 10th में था, and that is almost a decade and a half ago, right? So, 3 ही चीज होती थी, या तो आप इंजीनियर बनते थे, डॉक्टर बनते थे, या आईएएस बनते थे. So ever
Right.
since I was growing up, I wanted to become an
Mm-hmm.
IAS, right? So that was the dream of my family for me. But then eventually somehow the craze for IIT happened when I was in my 11th grade. And then that thing took me over. वो चढ़ गया दिमाग पे कि करना ही है अब ये चीज, right? So
Mm-hmm.
12th में फिर मैंने 11th 12th में काफी मेहनत किया. I was in a town called as Jamalpur. The nearest
Yes.
airport from there is 220 kilometers away. That's Patna, right?
Mm-hmm.
So eventually resources ज़्यादा थे नहीं, and we had a lot of our own fair struggles per se. But then there was a passion that I wanted to do IIT. So I
Right.
studied, I did my level best, and I got into IIT Dhanbad. I studied petroleum engineering there. And in the process of doing that, I realized although I had a dream for UPSC, I never was meant for
Mm-hmm.
UPSC. Like, my own accent, my own genre of traits, my own personality, and the way I see life, I did not find myself as a fit for the job in terms of the expectations that I have for my life and what
Mm-hmm.
UPSC had to offer, right? So I chose a way which was different from the UPSC path. And I chose
Right.
myself to enter into oil and gas industry, and
Mm-hmm.
it's been a rewarding career, right? But then I would say, coming from Bihar and seeing everything round up from the bottom, and all the struggles and the lack of resources, I think really shaped me in terms of see the life at a much bigger space. Uh,
Right.
to see opportunities and to grab them whenever they came around, when they came in front of you. At the same time, made me humble because when you grow up from the bottom, you don't have,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you grow up from bottom, your personality shapes up the amount of whatever you earn, you give back as well. And I think that has stayed with me ever since from the early days. So yeah, it's been quite a journey.
Amazing, amazing. Obviously, there has been a lot of myths about IITs, right? And founders who are from IITs and founders who are from non-IIT background, right? So basically, we'll be talking about that also. और सबसे पहले, what was something different? Like लोग कहते हैं कि हाँ ठीक है, if you are going to IITs, you have something different. एक दिन होता है कि you are studious from childhood. क्या? What was different thing in you कि that you got into IIT? Yeah, you were a normal kid doing normal studies and all.
यार तो उसकी कहानी है. So up to 10th, up to 10th grade, I was never good in class. So I was
Mhm.
decent. I was above
Mhm.
average, but I was never the top in class and that kind of stuff, right? But then I think the life really changed at my 11th standard mein gaya, and I moved from Notre Dame Academy where I studied until 10th, and then to Kendriya Vidyalaya in Jamalpur.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
Kendriya Vidyalaya, for a lot of reasons, it's the real representation of India. For me,
Right.
that's where you see the country. It's a mix of everything, right?
Mhm.
That's what happened to me. And I think the biggest trigger that happened to me was when somebody challenged me. And the
Mhm.
challenge was that, could you be the topper in the class, right? So I was Mr. Science
Mhm.
standard, and I ended up being the
Great.
top of the district and all India top
Mhm.
of chemistry in that year, right? So it was a very interesting aspect. But then that was the year jab trigger hua. Up to 10th standard, I would say I was above average
Mhm.
student, but then
Mhm.
that was the trigger in 11th
Mhm.
and 12th that really helped me to go, all in. And I really went all in
Okay.
ever since the game really changed per se the way I
Mhm.
saw things, right? But then that एक वहां पे एक चीज हुई थी जो कि काफी इंटरेस्टिंग है, जो आज मैं शेयर करूंगा आप लोगों के साथ.
Mhm.
हुआ क्या कि
Mhm.
12th के बाद आई वाज द डिस्ट्रिक्ट टॉपर, केमिस्ट्री में भी आई वाज ऑल इंडिया टॉपर, बट देन आईआईटी क्वालिफाई नहीं हुआ. सो
Okay.
बिहार इंजीनियरिंग क्वालिफाई हुआ, राइट?
Mhm.
And but I always had the dream of getting into an IIT.
Right.
I think that was more of a thought process. I didn't know what is there in IIT.
Mhm.
And I'll get to the point
Mhm.
you just mentioned. But then
Right.
क्या हुआ कि I went into one of the colleges and I took admission. I got in one of the colleges. I got civil engineering. I won't name them. I went there.
Mhm.
Deposit the money. My certificates was already with them. I just went to that college, to that city, to deposit the money. And all of a sudden, I saw a rangoli. And I not saw a rangoli, but I stepped over a rangoli. खराब हो
Okay.
गया रंगोली, ठीक है? तो रंगोली खराब होता है तो आप क्या करते हो? आसपास देखते हो.
Right.
देखा तो नहीं, अब फिर भाग
Ah.
जाते हो वहां से,
Good.
राइट? नॉर्मल
Very
टेंडेंसी, राइट? दैट्स व्हाट आई डिड. सो रंगोली खराब हो गई,
good.
मैंने आसपास देखा तो मुझे नजर पड़ गई नोटिस बोर्ड. नोटिस बोर्ड
Hmm.
पे लिखा हुआ था, देयर वाज अ गाय फ्रॉम अ सर्टेन आईआईटी हु वाज कमिंग टू दैट कॉलेज फॉर गेस्ट लेक्चर. उसके लिए
Hmm.
कॉलेज सजी हुई.
Okay.
मेरा माइंडसेट चेंज हो गया. दैट ट्रिगर वाज अलोन टू से कि
Hmm.
फीस नहीं दे रहा मैं. आई
Hmm.
टुक बैक द सर्टिफिकेट्स, रिवॉल्टेड अगेंस्ट माय फैमिली, अब पटना चला गया कि अब तो मुझे नहीं पता क्या होगा, पर मैं एक साल
Hmm.
तैयारी तो जरूर करूंगा आईआईटी की.
Jal-
दैट वाज.
Right.
And god is with you when you're really determined. God stays with you, right? And luck favors
Hmm.
the brave. I had given an exam for Fiji at that time, and I got 100% scholarship for hostel and for fees. पढ़ाई free हो.
Great.
Parents who
Hmm.
could afford at that point in time, they had no problem. So बस एक रिवॉल्ट हुआ, लड़ाई हुई,
Hmm.
भाई तुम पढ़ लो, बिकॉज एक साल जो ड्रॉप करता है उसकी रिजल्ट खराब होती है, and all that kind of stuff. And they were thinking good for me, right? But they were thinking from their
Hmm.
lens what they were exposed to. But then that's what happened, and the life changed completely. I went into there and I prepared, and next year I qualified. I qualified the JEE exam, and then I went into an IIT. But coming to your question, Aman, and I think it's a
Hmm.
very interesting question. What differentiates? For me, IIT is like any other college.
Hmm.
What really differentiates is the environment and the people, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you look at it, right? There are a lot of hardworking people who prepare, and I have respect for everyone. Going to an IIT
Hmm.
doesn't mean you're successful, right? I have so many friends from
Right.
IIT and so many friends not from IIT who are doing incredibly well against my peers from my college, right? Or from my
Right.
other IITs in terms of my peers, right?
Hmm.
But then what
Hmm.
really differentiates or sets apart is
Hmm.
कि वहां पर एक environment ऐसा होता है कि there are sharp minds all around. These
Hmm.
sharp minds create the entire environment and creates what IIT it is, right? The same thing goes with Harvard or Stanford. It's the reputation and the people that get into it, right? The selection rate
Hmm.
for IIT is what, 1%, right? 100 में
Hmm.
एक आदमी जाता है अंदर जो एग्जाम देता है, right?
Right.
Less than
Hmm.
1% actually. The Harvard
Hmm.
selection is 3% or 2.5, 3%.
Hmm.
What I mean
Hmm.
to say is that to get into an IIT in terms of number of applicants that get into it as compared to Harvard and Stanford is more difficult just by the
Right.
number game. I'm not talking about the quality, right? So, but then
Hmm.
that is how it is. So, what happens when you filter down the scenario? There are very, very like-minded, high potential people in there, and that is what creates or ignites your sense of fuel, right? जिंदगी
Right.
में किसी को वो 12वीं के बाद आ जाता है, किसी को वो 20 साल के बाद आता है, किसी को वो
बचपन से.
45 के बाद आता है, किसी को 60 के बाद आता है. ये
Hmm.
प्लेटफॉर्म है एक तरीके से, राइट?
Hmm.
प्लेटफॉर्म मिल
Hmm.
जाता है जहाँ पे the like-minded people can create an amazing thing, and that is why
Hmm.
the teamwork, the company,
Hmm.
the people you're around which shapes you, and that is what IIT does. That's how I see how is
Hmm.
IIT different from any other institution all over the country, and that's why IIT has produced a lot of successful startups, and still the number of startups that come out of an IIT is much higher than IIM, for example, right? Even though I am
Right.
management oriented,
Hmm.
so that's my understanding behind it. Having said that, I want
Exactly.
to reiterate, right? If you don't go to an IIT,
Ah,
it doesn't change anything. What
no,
matters is
obviously.
मैं किस stage में क्या कर रहे हो. That's it.
Right, right. And I was going on the same question, right? You said the environment is must, and obviously they give you that environment, and I talk to a lot of people who are from IITs and even from non-IIT. Or that what they say कि ठीक है, if you have an idea, if you're planning to start up, right? So your professors, your colleagues, right? Everyone helps you कि हाँ ठीक है, idea है. Even professor puts money in you कि हाँ ठीक है, आपका idea मेरे को अच्छा लगा, I'll put money and I'll help you at any level I can, right? So ये चीजें मिलती है, not every college student get. Even I am from Bihar, so I knew कि I tried to get into college, but never, not a single college was there, right? So I came to Noida and studied from normal college. But obviously things are going great. It's not that I'm from not from IIT, कि things are getting hard for me. But yeah, networking, and I believe you whatever you are doing in your life. So network should be, and that is called your network is your network, right? That I believe ki I talked to few people, met few connections on LinkedIn, and these things are helping me a lot. Even you, right? I connected with you, and you are also helping me on your behalf, whatever you can do, right? So these things, connection and network is important, I believe, from whatever college you are. So that's the thing.
And
And obviously,
I always think it's about the platform. तुमने ये बात
hmm,
बोली, मैं एक बात, especially to our listeners, I want to say, and I'll
hmm,
use a word with a lot of people. I don't know how they take it. जिंदगी में ना
hmm,
मुझे लगता है दो बार लात पड़ती है, बम्बू,
hmm,
है ना.
hmm,
एंड पहली बार लात पड़ती है जब आप 11वीं 12वीं पे होते हो. दिस इज
right.
स्पेसिफिकली फॉर पीपल हु आर फर्स्ट जनरेशन चेंज मेकर्स.
Hmm,
मेकर्स का मतलब पहले जनरेशन के वो लोग जो अपने परिवार से जो लोग कर रहे थे उससे हट के कुछ करना चाहते.
hmm,
आई एम गेटिंग इनटू अ पर्टिकुलर थॉट प्रोसेस. ओके, जिंदगी में
hmm,
दो बार
hmm,
लात पड़ती है, पढ़नी चाहिए. पहली
hmm,
लात पड़ती है जब मौका मिलता है आपको, पढ़ता है 11वीं 12वीं में. तो 11वीं 12वीं में या तो आप कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम क्वालिफाई कर लेते हो, जेई, मेडिकल,
hmm,
आपके लॉ, आपके सीए, जो भी एग्जाम्स होते हैं उस समय पे, एयरफोर्स, आर्मी, वॉट एवर एग्जाम्स, राइट. पहली लात
right. Hmm,
स्पेसिफिक फॉर फर्स्ट जनरेशन एक्सप्लोरर्स इन देयर फैमिली, राइट. तो उस समय कुछ लोग लात नहीं लेते हैं, और वो लात लेनी
hmm,
चाहिए, चाहे तुम 12वीं के बाद लो, 14वीं के बाद लो. कहने का मतलब है कि
exactly.
तुम 16 साल पे लो, 18
Exactly.
साल पे लो, या 24 साल पे लो, कुछ लोग 32 साल.
Charles.
वो पहली
बिल्कुल
लात
बिल्कुल.
होती है. वो पहली लात आपको स्टेज देती है.
हम्म.
आप एक पर्टिकुलर प्लेटफॉर्म पे आते हो,
हम्म.
वो आप कभी भी लो, पर वो आती है.
हम्म.
दूसरी लात पड़ती है जब आपको ये रियलाइज हो जाता है कि भाई वो तो अब स्टैग्नेंट हो गया. नाउ दिस इज द
हम्म.
गेम वेर यू एक्चुअली compete विद द बेस्ट ऑफ द बेस्ट. अब आपको पहली लात पढ़ने के बाद, जो आपने, कुछ लोग 12वीं में ले लेते हैं और आईआईटी बहुत
हम्म.
पढ़ाई करते हैं और आईआईटी चले जाते हैं, या मेडिकल चले जाते हैं, या लॉ
हम्म.
बहुत अच्छे कॉलेज में चले जाते हैं, फिर उनको प्लेटफॉर्म मिल जाता है, फिर उस प्लेटफॉर्म को यूज करके वो आगे बढ़ जाते हैं. ठीक है, नेटवर्क
राइट.
मिल जाता है, प्लेटफॉर्म मिल जाता है. कुछ लोग
हम्म.
ऐसे होते हैं जो उस समय लात नहीं खाते.
हम्म.
वो भी गलत नहीं है, वो लात खाते हैं
राइट.
25 की उम्र में,
बात.
रियलाइज होता है.
राइट.
पर
दैट
वो,
भी कैसा तो.
है ना, जो
हाँ.
नहीं खाते हैं, ऐसे भी कुछ लोग हैं जो नहीं खाते हैं, उसमें भी कोई गड़बड़ी नहीं
हम्म.
है, उनको वही जिंदगी पसंद है,
राइट.
उसकी बात है, वो जिंदगी पसंद है. लेकिन अगर
राइट.
उनको ये चुल है कि कुछ तो किया नहीं है पर करना है, हो सकता है वो लात खाएंगे 25 साल की उम्र में, वही लात जो पब्लिक किसी ने 16 साल की उम्र में खाई थी.
हम्म.
फिर वहां से उनकी जर्नी शुरू होती है. और
बिना लात खाए लेकिन कोई आगे नहीं बढ़ सकता है, दैट इज ट्रू. बिना लात खाए कोई आगे नहीं बढ़ सकता, दैट इज ट्रू.
बिल्कुल, यू हैव टू किक योरसेल्फ. तुम ही किक कर
राइट.
सकते हो. परिस्थितियां किक करेंगे तो तुम संभलने में समय लगाओगे. तो खुद को किक
राइट.
करना होता है. और दूसरी लात पड़ती है जब आप उस गेम को नेक्स्ट लेवल पे लेके जाते हो. ठीक है, जैसे कि बहुत सारे लोग जो फर्स्ट जनरेशन एक्सप्लोरर्स हो सकता है वो पहले जॉब से शुरू किए, फिर वो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में गए, कुछ बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, कुछ अपना कर रहे हैं, प्रोफेशनल बन गए. आई एम नॉट सेइंग जॉब इज राइट रॉन्ग, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इज रॉन्ग राइट, इट्स अ डिफरेंट.
राइट. राइट.
बट
हम्म.
व्हाटएवर दे वांट टू डू दे डू इट. वो दूसरी लात होती है. वो कोई 25 साल में ही कर लेता है, कोई 65 साल में करता है. अगेन,
करना
ये भी
सकता
करता
है.
है जिंदगी भर. पर ये दो लात
राइट.
होती हैं जो मेरे हिसाब से डिफाइन कर देती हैं कि भाई
हम्म.
जिंदगी में आप जो करना चाहते हो उसको कहाँ तक लेके जा सकते हो. वन
राइट.
मैसेज टू पास. अगर अभी तक लात नहीं पड़ी है तो सोचो कब मार रहे हो अपने आप को. दैट्स
हम्म.
इट.
Absolutely, absolutely right, right. And Lord, let's talk about your brand name, abCoffee, right? तो ये नाम कहाँ से आया, और ऑल इट्स इंटरेस्टिंग नेम. तो व्हाट इज द साइंस बिहाइंड इट, और कब सोचा है कि हाँ अब कॉफी रखना है?
No, absolutely. So there was a lot of thought process in terms of names, and coffee is one industry जहां पर अगर देखोगे तो कॉफी इतनी mature industry है globally कि
हम्म.
नाम बचे ही नहीं है. And to come
राइट.
up with an interesting name is very difficult, which can relate to people, right? So we came up with
हम्म.
several iterations of name. And then, as dramatic as it may sound, I was as it may sound, we were just like, what, 2 months away from our launch, and we didn't have a name.
Hmm.
Obviously, it was getting frustrated. I meditate daily, and I get into a meditation, come out of it, and I say,
Right.
abCoffee.
Hmm.
Up is now, right?
Right.
It's coffee, right? So our mission has always been to democratize specialty coffee, and to say
Mm-hmm.
the time to democratize specialty coffee in India is now, right? So
Hmm.
now it's up, right? So that's how we related several facts. So if you look at the three letters here, it's abCoffee.
Hmm.
The first
Mm-hmm.
is ab, because
Hmm.
what does coffee do? It helps you
Hmm.
perform in the present. When you see coffee, you want to have it immediately, right? So that's
Right.
part of it. Have coffee
Hmm.
now, right? But if you
Mm-hmm.
look it further, it's ABC, right? So what does
Hmm.
ABC mean? ABC is like just like the initials of alphabet of English, A to Z.
Right.
ABC is for alphabets, coffee is initials to life, right?
Hmm.
Like ABC is initials to alphabets, coffee is initials to
Mm-hmm.
life, right? The third element, and which is also a very major element that we want to say, is that as a brand, we represent people who are change makers, who are dreamers, hustlers, and doers in present, right? We don't want to say tomorrow time aayega. We believe
Right.
time is ab, right? That's where ab. So it's like tomorrow time aayega is a fallacy. You don't know. But then a lot of
Right.
people are working hard in present because they want to shape.
Hmm.
And as a brand and as coffee does helps you does that. जब बहुत नींद आती क्या करते हो कॉफी पीते हो एग्जाम्स होते हैं
Right.
क्या करते हो कॉफी पीते हो right if you want to have long
Mm-hmm.
working days क्या करते हो कॉफी पीते हो it helps you perform in
Hmm.
the present and that's why it's up coffee right so several reasons combined and
Hmm.
it's a mix of Hindi and English
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to come
Right.
up with something which is truly desi truly Indian and it can relate to the masses so that's why up coffee.
Like a Scaro startup. So everyone can relate to that. Now, obviously, it's interesting. So yeah, obviously, while starting up, so there are lot of factors that depend, right? For your success, team is one of them. So just wanted to know a bit about your team, how many people are there, and how you found your team, and how you are operating, and how you are getting your best guys when you're planning to hire, right?
Right. So, I always say, and I'll start with that quote, we might be, and we are in the coffee. People see us as a business of coffee. But to be honest, I always
Mm-hmm.
believe we are in the business of people, right?
Hmm.
We are in the business of people. What does coffee do? Coffee brings happiness. Coffee helps you perform. Coffee makes your day better. Coffee helps you achieve what you want to achieve. Coffee helps you do whatever you want to do in a better way, right? So
Hmm.
coffee
Hmm.
essentially is something that enables you, empowers you. I always believe
Hmm.
we are in the business of people. Any business which says it's not in the business of people probably has to redefine in terms of how they see the business, right? So for
Right.
me, people are core.
Hmm.
Like for me, people, if I take care of my people, people take care of the business. And that's how I have
Hmm.
hired every single person. We are a team of right now, we're a team of 9 members
Hmm.
with 4 other interns making it 13, right? But then overall, if you look at it, every single person who is in the team right now has been
Hmm.
come in with a thought process that A, they're passionate, B, they're dedicated, C, they're hungry to do more, and D, they're honest to themselves, right? And all of these combined, they connect to the mission that abCoffee is in. We are a startup, right? We can't compensate as many other big companies can do at this point in time,
Right.
right? But then we make sure that we take care of the people. For example,
Hmm.
you will not hear many companies who provides medical insurance from day one, term insurance from day one, provides you salary still to our baristas. We call them
Right.
partners. We provide them best in rate market salaries. The idea is essentially that when they come
Hmm.
in here, they do their best. Shouldn't feel that they're losing on something, right? Uh,
Right.
and we have pledged ourselves the moment we get beyond 5 outlets, and we have 2 right now, we will be making them partners in the company. We will be giving the ESOPs. And I'm sure you have never heard of that. Any coffee company in the country today,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? That's what coffee company, forget about coffee companies, Indian companies, a lot of other companies, right? We want
Right.
to take care of baristas, get that.
Hmm.
So, so that's where now talking about the team, if you ask me, as of now, we have 6 baristas, very
Mm-hmm.
diverse mix, right? We have almost 50% gender ratio in terms of men and women,
Hmm.
from 18 to 26, right? Very young people, passionate people.
Hmm.
Other than that, the management team, we have just onboarded a CXO, which is Vishwesh. Vishwesh
Okay.
comes with an experience from Hilton and Starbucks and Amazon and Flipkart. Amazing experience of operations, F&B. He joins as Chief Operating Officer with the Brewer Innovations Private Limited, which is the parent company for abCoffee. And then we have
Okay.
Akshay Shetty, who is operations manager for the Mumbai region, who helps run day-to-day operations. So we are just strengthening the team now with 6 other baristas. And, essentially just to tell you,
Mm.
you haven't asked that, or I'll answer. First thing that I
Mm.
did when I decided to form this company was decide the values, right? And when we decide
Right.
the values, 3 values that we depend on is people, service, excellence, right? And the number one
Right.
starts with people.
Right. The team you build is the company build, right? So obviously, you should have the right team. And let's talk about the idea. How did the idea strike? कि हाँ ठीक है लगा कि this is the idea and I'm going to and this is the problem I'm going to solve it. कि हाँ ठीक है coffee industry में and just I'm not sure about what exactly you are trying to solve, right? Now, obviously, cheapest, affordable is one thing, but what exactly you are trying to solve and कब लगा कि हाँ ठीक है ये problem है ना I need to solve this and I face this.
राइट, तो इसको उल्टा करते हैं अमन। ये बताओ, कॉफी पीते हो?
Yes.
कॉफी बाहर पीते होगे, अगर बाहर जाते होगे तो,
हाँ.
है ना?
Usually बाहर coffee.
राइट, अगर तुम बाहर कॉफी पीते होगे तो बाहर में कॉफी अगर कैपेचिनो पीते हो कितनी पड़ती है?
Depends on the brand. CCD में like around 70, 80, 100,
सीसीडी में
70.
70 का कैपेचिनो नहीं मिलता है अमन। सीसीडी में कैपेचिनो
100.
स्टार्ट्स एट 195। तुम
100 हाँ
2012
normally.
की बात बता रहे
हम्म,
हो।
अच्छा
2012 में भी
हाँ depends.
45।
250 की भी मिलती है बिल्ड टू फ्यू ब्रांड्स जो छोटे छोटे आउटलेट्स होते हैं 250 की भी 200 की भी मिलती है नॉट
Right.
एग्जैक्ट
So average cappuccino in India, and it's also to the readers and to the listeners right now to look for it themselves. Average cost of cappuccino in India is 209, 209 rupees.
ओके
Starbucks being most expensive, 285. CCD being in the range of 185 to 195, and there are many other brands which sells in between. कोई भी कैफे भी जाओगे 250 से 300 में तुम्हें कैपेचिनो,
राइट
ठीक है?
राइट
अब तुम अगर यही चीज देखो, यूएस में गेस करो एवरेज कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपेचिनो क्या है कप? गेस करो, रुपये में बताना।
3 to 400 I guess.
275।
ओके
यूरोप में गेस करो, मेक अ गेस।
300 bucks.
सो यूएस में, माय बैड, यूएस में इट्स 210। यूरोप में तुमने 300 बोला, इट्स रफली 300 इन टर्म्स ऑफ पाउंड्स, डिपेंड्स ऑन व्हिच कंट्री यू आर इन। इटली में इट्स एज चीप एज 120। सिंगापुर में गेस,
250.
250। तो तुम देखो, इंडिया 209 है, एवरेज बता।
राइट
200 के आसपास का है, यूरोप 250 से 300 के आसपास का, सिंगापुर 250 का है। They are all Western economies, excluding Singapore, which is also developed economy. They,
राइट
ये में से कोई भी कंट्री कॉफी प्रोड्यूस नहीं करता है, सब कॉफी इंडिया से लेते हैं। One of the countries where they take coffee is from India. India produces
या
so much of coffee that we are the 5th largest producer of coffee, 7th largest exporter, and 70% of our coffee gets exported. Still, coffee in India is so expensive and at par with their pricing. Yet, cost of living is much, much lower as compared to US, Europe, Singapore.
राइट वेरी मच
Rings a bell? India में कॉफी, अच्छी कॉफी, फ्रेश कॉफी हैज बीन सोल्ड एज अल्ट्रा प्रीमियम। आपको मिलता है, आपको मिलता है इंस्टेंट कॉफी। व्हाट इज इंस्टेंट कॉफी? इंस्टेंट कॉफी को अगर मैं एक्सप्लेन करूं तुम्हें, एग्जांपल पूछता हूं, बर्गर खाते हो? बर्गर खाते हो? बर्गर
समटाइम्स
समटाइम्स। मसाला डोसा खाते हो?
राइट
अब मैं अगर तुम्हें ये बोल दूं अमन कि मसाला डोसा जो तुम खाते हो मैं आज बना दूंगा, 2 साल उसको फ्रीज कर दूंगा, और 2 साल के बाद तुम उसको गर्म करके खा लेना, खाओगे?
नेवर
दैट्स इंस्टेंट कॉफी। तो तुम घर में मिला के पीते हो ना, उसको ब्रू
राइट
करते हैं, कॉफी को फ्रीज करके क्रिस्टल बना देते हैं, बॉटल में डाल के भेज देते हैं, और उसमें चिकोरी मिला होता है। चिकोरी इज एडल्ट्रेशन, चिकोरी इज नथिंग, इट्स टेस्टलेस प्रोडक्ट कॉफी में मिला देते हैं ताकि वॉल्यूम बढ़ जाए और राइट, दैट्स इंस्टेंट कॉफी। कुछ लोग आज चालू कर दिए कि ठीक है चिकोरी हटा दिया, सिर्फ कॉफी डाल दिया, फिर भी वो चीप कॉफी डालते हैं और इंस्टेंट कॉफी बना के बेचते हैं, राइट? सो ऑल दीस कंपनीज आर मोस्टली डूइंग दैट। जो इतनी भी अच्छे कैफेज हैं या चेन्स हैं, दे आर स्टिल सर्विंग स्पेशलिटी कॉफी, सर्विंग कमर्शियल कॉफी। कोई भी अभी तक अच्छी क्वालिटी कॉफी जो यूरोप और यूएस में मिलती है नहीं आई इंडिया में, बहुत कम है, गिने चुने। यू कैन काउंट दोस in your fingers, those companies which does it. For a country as 1.4 billion people, we have so much lacking that access. So that's where the idea born. Right? So I was always a chai person per se, And 2019, I moved to Europe. And when I went there, I started having coffee. And when I had coffee, I was taken aback. कि इतनी बढ़िया कॉफी। तब तक मैं इंडिया में पीता था बरिस्टा, सीसीडी, एंड वो भी जब डेट्स पे जाता था, मीटिंग्स में जाता था तो पी लेता था, क्योंकि 250 रुपए 200 रुपए की कॉफी तुम कितनी बार पियोगे, डजंट मैटर हाउ मच मनी, डजंट ऐड फाइनेंशियल, राइट? तो शौक होती थी तो पी लेता था, अदरवाइज इंस्टेंट कॉफी पीते थे घर पे बना करके या टपड़ी पे जा करके। तो व्हेन आई वेंट देयर आई हैड कॉफी, वहां सेंस बनता था, $3 की कॉफी मिलती थी, $3 स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग के हिसाब से परफेक्ट बैठता था, बुरा नहीं, इतना तो खर्च ही होता है वहां पे। So fell in love with coffee. Eventually, over the next 2 years, when I stayed there, I researched, took machines, went into coffee, and did a lot of aspects around it. And I came back to India last year, February 2021. I was a coffee person. From chai, I was a coffee person. Because there's a life before coffee and after coffee. And once you get into real good coffee, there's no going, right? So I got into real good coffee, and that's when I got into this concept. I came back here, started looking for coffee, मिला ही नहीं। I used to order online, just कोविड के सेकंड वेव से पहले, और दिन का 700-800 पीना शुरू कर दिया। अब दिन का 700-800 मतलब महीने का तुम 24-26 हजार की बात कर रहे हो। अब 24-26 हजार तुम महीने की अगर बात करो यार, तो इट डजंट मेक सेंस, है ना? इट डजंट रियली मेक सेंस इंडियन कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग में। How much? It's not that I couldn't afford it. It was like यार क्यों करते हैं? Then I got into machines, and I got into beans, कि beans खरीदने लगा, मशीन घर पे लाके रख दिया। Still no, there was something scorching कि यार प्रॉब्लम इतना बड़ा क्यों है इंडिया में? वहां पे कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग में मैच करता था $3, यहाँ पे $3 नहीं है। Why don't we get a decent cup of coffee at something which is very affordable? Cost of living इंडिया के हिसाब से। That is how it started, Aman. I went all across the country. ये प्रॉब्लम अभिजीत का है या प्रॉब्लम भारत का है? Right? And across 12 states, 20 cities, visited over 200 cafes, talked to thousands of people. I realized, भाई पूरे इंडिया में यही हाल है। या तो आप 200-250 रुपए पे करो, वो भी आपको गंदी सी जली हुई कॉफी मिलेगी, हो सकता है एक तो जगह हो जाओगे अच्छी कॉफी मिलेगी, अदरवाइज इतने में यही मिलेगा। आप वाली पियो नहीं तो 15 रुपए की, right? So that's where the seed was sown, and that's when I got into this, and it's like India needs it. The platform is ready. The market is ready. It's growing at a CAGR of almost 9% per year.
Right.
Market is almost $5 billion dollars worth. This is the time to get into it. And I risked my entire career, and I said, full on, let's go. Let's make a change. Let's make a wave of revolution in the country. In coffee.
Correct. And what is the price you are offering?
So coffee starts at 77.
Nice.
And we serve India's highest graded coffee, right? Our coffee is graded 80 and above, making it specialty. So what we're doing is what Jio did. Jio 2015-16 में आया था ना, तो उसने सबसे सस्ती रेट कर दी थी अपने इसकी इंटरनेट की, पर उसने ये कभी नहीं कहा कि मेरी रेट सस्ती है। They were very simple. My rate is affordable, masses can afford it, but it's the fastest internet. लाइन लग गई लंबी, राइट? मार्केटिंग किया, जीरो में सिर्फ फ्री दिया, और इंटरनेट कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं किया। Same thing is with us. There is a period before Jio and a period after Jio. I'm not saying what good and bad the company has done, but there's a period before Jio. उसके पहले हम सोचते ही नहीं था डेटा इतना सस्ता हो सकता है। तुम बताओ, सोच सकते थे?
Never.
हमें पता था 1.5 GB डेटा आता है महीने का।
अभी 1 घंटे में खत्म हो जाता है।
हाँ, और जिसके लिए 300 रुपए पे करना था, ठीक है? इसके बाद आप एड ऑन डालो। जियो बोला भाई कोई इंटरनेट का लिमिट ही नहीं, 1 GB तो आप 1 दिन में करोगे। एवरी कंपनी फॉलोड इट। क्या एयरटेल लॉस में है? नहीं है एयरटेल, कोई लॉस में नहीं है, सब पैसे कमा रहे हैं। एयरटेल इनफैक्ट इज डूइंग अमेजिंग, राइट? Just because they came up with new models, they innovated it, and there's a period before Jio and after. And Jio ने कभी ये नहीं स्लो इंटरनेट दूंगा, मैं बोला फास्टेस्ट इंटरनेट दूंगा, जो एयरटेल देता है उससे भी फास्ट दूंगा, या वही दूंगा, अफोर्डेबल होगा। सेम थिंग जैसे इंडियाज हाईएस्ट ग्रेडेड कॉफी, कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज ऑन कॉफी नहीं। You try and coffee with any coffee in the country, like any. Yet we are affordable. 1/3 of Starbucks prices, 40% of CCD prices, average price is 45% come. That's a challenge we have, right? So, for the masses.
And it is right, you talked about cost of living, right? So when I was in college also, ऐसी चीजें होती थी कि you are getting 8K, 10K per month, जिसमें आपको rent भी pay करना है। You said कि आप डेट पे भी जाते हो तो you have to think कि हाँ ठीक है, अगर मैं इतना खर्च नहीं कर सकता रहा, ऑब्वियसली दोस्तों के साथ भी जाते हो तो यार दोस्त बोलते हैं, ऑब्वियसली रीजन कैन बी डिफरेंट कि यार 250 की कॉफी क्यों पिएगा, चलो 5 की चाय पीते हैं या 10 की टपरी पे चाय पीते हैं, तो ऐसा होता है। ऑब्वियसली पीपल कांट अफोर्ड इट, नॉर्मली आप जाते हो, राइट? तो चीजें मिलती नहीं है। इवन लाइक ऑब्वियसली इंडिया इज everyone is a chai person, almost everyone out of 3 people टू पीपल आर चाय पर्सन, बट धीरे धीरे पीपल आर चेंजिंग। और हो सकता है मिलेनियल्स आर शिफ्टिंग टू कॉफीज, बट जो बोलते थे कि हाँ चाय वाला बनता हूँ, चीजें चेंज हो रही हैं। दैट अपेंड विद यू, मेरे साथ भी ऐसा होता है कि हाँ ठीक है, आई डोंट लाइक चाय एनी मोर, ज्यादा नहीं पसंद है, कि बहुत सारी दिक्कतें होती है राइट चाय में, तो लोग शिफ्ट हो रहे हैं राइट, इवन पीपल आर चेंजिंग। बिजनेस दैट की हाँ थोड़ा सा एज यू सेड की प्रॉपर सॉल्यूशन यू आर ब्रिंगिंग, तो वहां से मे बी देयर कैन बी अ चेंज, देयर कैन बी दिस कैन बी इफेक्टिव थिंग राइट। तो ये चीजें होती है एंड इट्स अ रियलिटी राइट, एवरीवन हैज फेस्ड इट कि हाँ ठीक है 250 की कॉफी, 300 की कॉफी, डेट पे जाते हो 1000 रुपए सिर्फ कॉफी में आते जाते हैं राइट। और इंडिया जैसे देश में जहाँ आपके पास 2-3 हजार घर से आते हैं, दिस वाज द कॉलेज स्टफ, जब आप कॉलेज में होते हैं, हम टॉकिंग अबाउट, तो यू कैन अफोर्ड, तो ये चीजें होती है। ग्रेट। सो एंड ऑब्वियसली व्हाट इज योर विजन, and obviously you talked about कि हाँ ठीक है भी कॉफी को सबसे अफोर्डेबल बनाना है, but I believe कि pricing can be a factor right, but on a long term you can't play on pricing part right, कि सिर्फ आप दाम कम कर दोगे, that is not going to happen, and I obviously you already know this thing, so there is another thing, और क्या vision देखते हो in next few years, are you seeing this up coffee as a brand?
So, pricing is a lever for us. It's not a
Hmm.
USP. And I
Hmm.
want to emphasize on that. Rightly pointed out. Pricing,
Right.
pricing is something which will attract you to
Hmm.
get once, right? अगली बार तुम
Right.
pricing देख के नहीं पियोगे. And there are a lot of
Hmm.
companies in India which are doing it, which are selling coffee even cheaper than us. But you drink that
Right.
coffee, you probably spit it out or throw it out, right? So we have three major levers. Number one lever is we are India's first
Hmm.
affordable tech-enabled
Hmm.
specialty coffee company. What do you mean by that?
Okay.
We have a digital grab and go model. The entire model
Hmm.
provides us that it's low on capex, low on opex. It's very,
Hmm.
and then what it does, it helps us cut costs, and everything is passed on to the customers.
Hmm.
We are giving the real good coffee, bringing the greatness of coffee back to the Indians, for the Indians, developed by the Indians, right? जो Indians coffee
Right.
को करके बाहर भेजते थे 70%, we want to bring
Hmm.
back. इंडिया फिफ्थ लार्जेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर है कॉफी का, फिर भी तुम बहुत सही बात बोले ना कि 3 में से 2 आदमी को तो कॉफी के बारे में नहीं पता होगा। 3 क्या, मैं
Hmm.
कहता 10 में से 9 आदमी को इंस्टेंट कॉफी का जो मैंने आज बताया वो नहीं पता होगा, राइट?
Right.
और अभी भी लोग कैपेचिनो, बहुत सारे कैफेज में घुसते हैं, कैपेचिनो लाटे का मतलब नहीं पता होगा, डिफरेंस क्या है दोनों में। अच्छा ये
एक ब्रांड बता
150
कैपेचिनो, बस दैट्स इट।
285 का है, ये 265 का है, दे दो यार जो भी सही हो,
बस। राइट।
वेरी नॉर्मल। जबकि इंडिया यार लार्जेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर है कॉफी का। It's just a thing that has been passed on to from since colonization. हमें लगा दिया गया कि भाई इंडियंस तो ये नहीं पी सकते, ये जो रिच एंड हाई क्लास है वही पी सकते हैं, right? That is what we are bringing back. We're bringing real good coffee back to the Indians, right? So our USPs are actually 3, and number 1 is that a coffee is India's highest graded coffee in terms of specialty coffee. It's one of the highest, right? 18 above graded है। ग्रेडेड का मतलब होता है कॉफी की ग्रेडिंग होती है 0 से 100 तक, right? जितने भी चेन्स जानते हो, 1 या 2 चेन को हटा दो, and which is not some common name that you've heard of, I won't take them.
Right.
They don't serve specialty coffee, they serve commercial coffee, right? Mostly all the chains that we have seen growing up, right? There's new age companies, 1 and 2, one or two who are doing good in terms of coffee. Other than that, सब commercially बेचते हैं. So going back, number 1 is coffee that we serve, no compromise. Price बाद में आता है. Number 2 USPs are turnaround time. You come to a cafe, कोई भी cafe जाओ, most of the cafes in India, coffee के लिए आपको बैठा देते हैं. Cafe setup, restaurant setup है, cafe setup है. Our focus is coffee. Everything else on the side, right? तो आप आते हो, our turnaround time is 1 minute 25 seconds. One of the best in the market, right? कर लो कॉपी जितना करना है. कुछ policies हैं, कुछ SWIs हैं, कुछ SWPs हैं, कुछ steps हैं. You can't make what our USP is, right? You can try to copy whatever you can. So number 1 is the coffee. Number 2 is the turnaround time. And number 3 is the overall digital tech experience that we want to build, right? So these are 3 major USPs that we have. But if you ask me about a vision, we want to be the coffee joint of the country. Coffee पीनी है, अब coffee चलते हैं. अब coffee पीने चलते हैं. That's what we want to be. You want to be coffee पीना है, आप coffee जाओगे daily. अगर आपको वाईफाई लेना है, बैठ के काम करना है, you go where you are going today. कैफे सेटअप पे जाओ. आपको डेट पे जाना है, you go there. आपको बिजनेस मीटिंग्स में जानी है, you go there. If you want to have fun with your friends, you want to hang out place with your friends, grab a coffee while going to school, grab a coffee while going to college, grab a coffee while going back to home, to work, to come to a coffee. That's the model we have. घर से निकले हो, online coffee order कर दो WhatsApp पे. It's a chatbot. By the time you reach the deck, we call our cafes as coffee decks. Grab it and
Hmm.
no waiting time. That's what we're bringing to this entire digital experience of coffee in India. That's a
Great. Great. And what is the procedure from bringing the coffee from farm to your stores and like how you are like managing all this stuff and
so
refining process? Hmm.
right. So we have product partners who are trained from Coffee Board of India, right? Experts, and then
Mm-hmm.
they help source coffee for us. And we do it together
Mm-hmm.
actually. We source coffee from the India's highest, or not the highest, but the leading coffee estates in the country, like Harley Estates. And then
Mm-hmm.
we roast it ourselves. We have blended the coffee and roasted in a way which suits Indian
Mm-hmm.
palate. So it's not that this coffee you can get from anywhere. So what I did is when I came back to India and I found this gap, I saw a lot of companies are simply copying the European and American palate. Indians ना
Right.
इंडियंस जब चाय पीते हैं तो तुम जब चाय बनाते हो मन चाय बनाए हो कभी
Daily.
डेली बनाते हो जब चाय बनाते हो तो दूध को तुम ज्यादा गर्म करते हो कि कम रखते हो
गर्म तो करना पड़ता है.
गर्म करके थोड़ा देर तक रखते होगे उसको ज्यादा
Hmm.
गर्म होने देते होगे
Right.
बिकॉज उससे थिकनेस आती है दूध में सो वी इंडियंस आर हैबिचुअल ऑफ ड्रिंकिंग समथिंग व्हिच इज थिक टू गिव यू एन
Hmm.
एग्जांपल हमें गाढ़ापन चाहिए
Hmm.
that is what lot but still हमें aroma चाहिए coffee की हमें aftertaste
Hmm.
चाहिए coffee की a lot of engineering went into this and this is where I use my past experience thought process and knowledge and I reverse engineered with the help of my product experts and said भाई देखो मुझे A B C चीज चाहिए ये
Hmm.
मासेस से कनेक्ट होता है इंडियंस को पसंद है हमें ये चाहिए हमें कॉपी नहीं करना है वेस्ट को हमें इंडियन
Hmm.
पैलेट के अकॉर्डिंग बनाना है and that's what we have done we have developed signature coffee beans which you can
Hmm.
only get at our coffee decks and it's been built in a way which will connect to the masses feel premium yet familiar amazing aroma great body जो आपके पैलेट पे फैलेगा और एक आफ्टर
Hmm.
टेस्ट रहेगा प्रीमियम सा you have drank a good cup of coffee exact same thing that our customers say to us and that's what we have done.
Great. That's great to hear. And let's talk about the challenges that industry has been facing, right? So obviously, price fluctuation, a lot of price fluctuation is there, unpredictable market incomes, right? And obviously, lack of training and skills for the workers who are working in the coffee industry, right? And obviously, whether it can be also fatigue, unpredictable, right? So how people are managing all this stuff, even you guys, when it comes to you, up coffee, or it's just the distributor who are providing you, it's her or his responsibility to provide you
No,
the
no,
best
it's
coffee,
that's
right?
our responsibility. So the thing with coffee is that you have to source the beans beforehand, right? To let you know, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not as open a market as you can think. It's a pretty
Mm-hmm.
closed market if you really have to get good quality.
Mm-hmm.
So I did get into that, and we have got good connections directly with the farmers. That's where we build relations from. But then that's a very valid point that you made. By the time we entered the market, there was inflation already hit in the Indian market. Prices
Right.
are going up. And we are trying to democratize coffee, which means break the monopoly of the premium chains, make it more equitable for the masses, bring the prices down, yet the coffee quality up. Ulta chal raha hai. It's a
Mm-hmm.
challenge. I wouldn't say it's not a challenge. It is a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
We're facing it. We're learning from it, right? The good thing is we are already breaking even in our coffee techs. That's how
Right.
optimized our business model is, right? It's just been 3.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But then when it comes to training, I do believe training is something which comes with the culture of the company. And as a founder, as a management team, you have to run. Nobody else is going to do it, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
came from my own experience. My role in corporate was people development and engagement. I used to manage a team of around 600, 650 people all across the country in terms of
Mm-hmm.
career, promotions, and their training and development. And that's what I've used very well. From my experience in running the NGO that I run outside of coffee, using that skill to train my people in. And that's what we have done. So we train it ourselves. We help them make ready. It's not just about barista skills, but customer experience. Customer आके याद करना चाहिए.
Mm-hmm.
आप coffee आए थे, you had a good experience. Come to our place. We remember your name. We remember your drink. We remember who you are. Next time when you come, we know what you want. And that's a kind of personal experience. Not to be snatchy, not to be picky, but to be welcoming, to be warm, to be loving. When you come here, you feel loved. You feel
Mm-hmm.
love. You feel fun. You don't feel serious. You come here as a friend. You may come
Exactly.
first come as a stranger, but you will live as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
That's our objective. Right? Next time you come as a friend.
Definitely. And even I would love to like taste some whenever I'll be visiting Mumbai. So is it online or only offline right now?
It's both actually. So we have four channels
Mm,
right now. It's offline
mm,
direct from the decks in Versova, in Western Bombay, and in Central Mumbai in Powai. We are on Swiggy, Zomato in both the decks, and we're also on our
mm,
website. On our website, we sell merchandises, coffee kits, and coffee beans.
mm,
Obviously, if you want to order from anywhere in the country, we can ship it to you, right? Have a trial. And then in
mhm.
terms of Bombay, we cover almost Western Bombay and Central Bombay through this decks, and we do both Swiggy, Zomato, and uh, and the decks.
Great. It was a great conversation. And last, there is like obviously a small question. There has been a lot of creators on the market. Everyone talks about financial freedom, success. So just wanted to know a bit about you, from you, कि what is success to you? कि क्या लगता है कि हाँ ठीक है, I've achieved something, कि अब coffee is now settled, I am settled, कि अब ठीक है, हो गया. Yeah, what is the definition for the success to you?
It's a great question, and I myself have been giving lectures in universities and schools outside my job last previous.
Mm-hmm.
ये सवाल हमेशा आता था हमें. बच्चे हमेशा
Right.
ये सवाल पूछते थे कि what is success to you?
Hmm.
So for me, success is a very subjective term. जो मेरे लिए होगा वो तुम्हारे लिए नहीं होगा, जो तुम्हारे लिए होगा तीसरे के लिए नहीं होगा. So the way
Right.
I think and I'll tell you is success to me is being able to do what you want to do. It's about freedom. It's
Hmm.
about passion. It's about achieving what goals you have set for yourself. Because अगर आप which again gives me to the point, अगर आपके goal
Hmm.
नहीं है तो success कैसे define करोगे? फिर आप नहीं कर सकते हो success define. Because then
Right.
that thing you will keep chasing something जिसका कोई end ही नहीं है,
Hmm.
right? So for me there is no success unless there is a goal, right? So for
Hmm.
me being able to do something is success. Like
Hmm.
me doing a lucrative job, such an amazing career, an award-winning career, I had an energy industry to be able to quit that, to be able to free and pursue my passion and to solve a problem for the society and to come up with something that can make people happy
Hmm.
is success for me. And it's a journey. It's never an end goal. I'll not say it's
And
after this.
great, great. And if you're doing something what you love, so definitely I believe it's success. And you should have that conviction, right? If I want to do a startup, if you want to do a job or business, so I'm on it, right? चीजें होती रहती है, right? Ups and downs, and as I said in last, what is entrepreneurship? And if you, someone is starting up, right? What will be the best advice and worst advice you want to give? कि हाँ ठीक है, ये चीज आपको करनी चाहिए. What is the thing that you should not do when you are starting up startup? Yeah, I've
So
seen a lot of ups and downs. Sorry to interrupt. I've seen a lot of ups and downs. कि कभी आपके पास बहुत पैसे होते हैं, कभी आपके पास बिल्कुल नहीं होते. Like you are at zero, right? So सभी journey देखे, and I believe you must have seen that. कि ठीक है, obviously you are from good background, educational background, right? Everything, but it happens in startup. कभी लगता है कि हाँ ठीक है, not going great, right? So क्या करना चाहिए उस phase में? And as I said कि जो start कर रहे हैं, कि what advice you want to give from your experience?
So, see, it's early days for me as well in entrepreneurship, and I have to be honest about it. But there is one thing I can tell you. I decided
Hmm.
to be going into this path in 2016. It's been
Hmm.
6 months. I planned every bit of it.
Hmm.
Even before I put down my papers, I planned the 5 years of financial sustainability for myself for the next 5 years, for my family. Because,
Hmm.
when you start something, you want to make sure you never go back to where you started. You want to make sure you always go up better. You improve your life, your personality, your humanity, your overall skill set, right? So, one advice I want to give you, never go by the impulse. Have some plan, make a blueprint. May not be to the dot. It gives you the
Hmm.
direction in life, right?
Hmm.
Define a goal, you know which direction you're heading to. Be ready to be flexible, but plan it ahead. A हुआ तो B करेंगे, B हुआ तो C करेंगे, C हुआ तो D करेंगे. Never go all in. You don't know swimming and you jump in the sea. That's fatal. That's societal. Don't do that, right? So one advice I'm gonna give you: come what may, you can be passionate about anything in the world. Make a
Hmm.
plan and never
Right.
go blind. Make a plan. It might
Hmm.
go right, it might go wrong, but at least you will know which direction you are heading to. And I will
Hmm.
conclude with one statement: a man without a head, a man without a plan is like a headless chicken. You run around and you get nothing.
Thank you so much for joining. So it was a indeed great conversation. I learned a lot of things from you, and I hope we will be like doing a lot of things together. Right.
Thanks,
Bye bye.
Aman.
Have a
All the
nice.
very best to you and your team as well.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.